Small talk here. What's been going on today, Levi? Did you get a chance to get out in the water today?
Not today, man. I kind of woke up and then just got to work. I'm just still working on the business. That's kind of what I'm focusing a lot of my efforts on right now.
Hmm.
Um, I've been doing a little bit less surfing because I just graduated college, so I'm
Okay.
going pretty hard on the business development side of things, and then I work in the evening.
Aha, I see. Yeah, yeah. How's everything going? Sound okay there, Levi?
Yeah,
Right on,
everything all
everybody.
sounds good.
Cool. Well, hello everybody. Thank you for joining Pro Surf Blog today for some epic surf news. Today I'm interviewing Levi Cooke, and Levi Cooke has been developing some surf wax, which we'll get into. But for now, how's it going, Levi?
Going well, man. Just doing my thing. How about you, bro?
Oh, doing pretty good this week,
Yes, sir. That's good to hear.
Yeah, you gotta stay adaptable in this world, right? Just like in surfing.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, yeah, I've learned a little bit about Levi recently from Rick. I'd like to throw a shout out to Rick Barry, a person I like to surf with a lot when I get an opportunity. And yeah, Rick was telling me a little bit about Levi developing some wax for surfing and stuff. But before I get into that, I want to kind of get, a sense to know Levi and share a little bit about Levi with everybody else out there watching. So Levi, how long have you been surfing, bro?
I've been taking surfing a lot more regularly for the past couple of years. I kind of grew up an ocean baby though, so I'll be surfing here and there.
Okay.
But I also grew up like a school athlete, right? So that would take up most of my time.
Right.
But by the time I graduated high school, I didn't have any sports to do anymore, right? So I got
Hmm.
back in the water and I've been in the water ever since. So I'll be surfing. I'll try to go at least once a week and I'll go as much as I can. So sometimes I can get out there like 5 days in a week.
Oh,
Right
cool.
now, with my workload kicking up ever since I graduated college, I'm out there a little bit less, but I'm still feeding for my next session right now.
Yeah, yeah. Flexibility and work hours is always something to look for going forward.
Yes,
Um,
sir. I'm working at a Jersey Mike's right now just to make ends
okay.
meet. So
Awesome.
like it can be, that's really rigid, it can be really demanding.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
one day in the future I would love to be able to have some kind of job that allows me to surf as much as I can.
Yeah, one of my daughters actually worked at Jersey Mike's in high school and through college as well.
Oh, that's
That
pretty
was,
cool.
yeah, that was a good gig for sure.
Yeah, it's a great place to work. I met so many friends there and we always have tons of fun. But right
Mhm.
now I'm looking for my next step into, you know, what I want my life to look like.
Mhm.
It was a great like high school and college gig,
Mhm.
and now I'm ready to start like defining myself and defining my career.
Okay. Yeah. What type of board, or I should say, what size of board do you typically ride?
I'm a logger. You see the short board here. That's not my usual board. It's
Uh-huh.
a This one's really cool, but I have it hanging up. I'll go out with it once in a while, but I'm typically a logger, so I have my 8'6" nose rider with the three fin box setup, the thruster. I usually rock with the one big fin. So I do, work on my hanging ten, work on my cross step. Looking into getting an even bigger board, like a 9'4", that'd be really fun.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll ride anything. I just find the logs to have tons of style and they're just so much fun to ride.
Yeah. Just want to throw a shout out to Ciao, CIAO, Italian style. He just chimed in with a bunch of fire emojis.
Jason, love you, big dog.
Yeah, Jason's tuned in. Yeah, so yeah, I saw at least one of the boards. Maybe that's your go-to board, a green board that you kind of had on some of your clips as well. That's like a eight something, you said?
Yeah, that's my 8.5 footer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I
that
got
thing
from
was
Solana.
okay. That's a
You
nice board.
Yeah,
Nice colors and yeah, looks like it's probably a lot of fun.
tons of
What,
fun.
what about wetsuits? What kind of wetsuits you digging right now? Like what?
I think most of the wetsuits I've ever gotten were O'Neill. I
Hmm.
just got a brand new 4.3 with the booties and the hood as well because I've been getting chilly out there. I used to not eat that stuff, but when you go out, I go out less regularly, so I'll have longer sessions,
Hmm.
and then I'll just get cold, especially in the winter. So
Hmm.
yeah, the 4-3 O'Neill is what I'm rocking right now with
Okay,
the
cool.
hood and booties.
Right on, right on. And then like where are you hailing from right now? Like what city are you staying at?
Oh yeah, dude, I lived in San Marcos my whole life. I still live with my parents here. Um,
Mhm.
looking to get out of here at some point, but trying
Oh
to make that
man,
rent work, you
I was
know.
gonna say it's expensive out there.
I know, dude.
You
Once I
can.
get a nice little job, I've been applying recently. I just graduated Cal State with a marketing degree, right? So I'm looking for
Mhm.
jobs in my field.
Okay.
But I have no luck yet. It's been a month or two.
Yeah.
Once I get like a entry level job a in the field that I like, I'll be
Yeah.
able to go out on my own. But right now we're
Yeah.
still working on it.
Yeah. No, it's a great. I mean, it's a great option to have, and I think that's the best thing to do. Um, yeah. So I noticed you got a YouTube channel that you kicked off. I think maybe last year or something, right?
Yes, sir.
And yeah, so if anybody out there wants to see a little bit more, learn a little bit more about Levi and what he's doing on YouTube, you can check him out. It's Levi's Lax Wax, I think is the channel name there. And in fact, I'll share for you here as well what that looks like. But yeah, Levi, it looks like you have, pretty much like a YouTube vlogger style format that you're working with.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and there's your cover page or your homepage there, if you will. So if you guys want to check that out, he's kind of doing a few different things. He's doing the GoPro format in some cases as he's surfing, and then he's doing some kind of vlogging updates and talking and things like that, sharing with everybody. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I like all your artwork there and everything you got going on with that. You can also find Levi at his Instagram, of course, and I'll pull that up for you guys too. You can see there it says Instagram, Levi's Lax Wax, and he's got a bunch of clips there as well. And I guess I should also probably share your website since you got a cool website as well. So I'll bring that bad boy up and put that up on the screen. So there you go. That's at least part of his website. It's kind of like a an engaging website that the images change and so forth. So I just kind of grabbed a quick shot of what that looks like for everybody. So yeah, you can kind of get involved with the surf wax and ask questions or maybe try to obtain some wax from them, shake them down for a bar or two. Um, yeah. So yeah. So I looked at your YouTube. That's kind of where I spent some of my time there, Levi. And well, because we're on YouTube right now, and I'm kind of favoriting YouTube. So uh, first thing I noticed is that you busted a little cheater five on one of your clips.
Oh, I'm glad you saw that, man. Yeah, that doesn't come very easily to me. I'm still working on my cross step. Getting to the in front of the board is pretty hard to do. But
Mhm.
I was at a Ponto in that clip, and those waves have a little bit more punch to them, so you kind of can go a little faster. So I was
Mhm.
able to kind of get to the front of the board and stick my toes like right in front of the nose. That
Mhm.
was really fun. I was super stoked about that clip.
Yeah, so I don't surf Ponto a whole lot, so we're gonna let that one slide for Levi here. But I don't know if you know Levi. There's that saying out there like the rules. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah, so some of the stuff you're sharing on there could get you into trouble, but
It
but
is true.
no, I mean it's funny. Everybody knows the rules, and yet everybody breaks the rules. So I've probably broken every surf rule there is at some point or another. But yeah, no, it's really cool. You can check out what he's doing. I surf some of the places that you're surfing there too, Levi. So really love that. And I noticed you were talking about kind of branching out with some of your clips at some of the different spots like Oceanside and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
That's
looking to go out to a lot more different places, because I
hmm
kind of surf in my my one usual location, and
Hmm.
those waves are pretty cool. They're kind of like these like mushy rolling waves, great for logging and stuff. But
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, I've been having more fun on the punchy beach breaks. I want to see what I've got on those fronts. You know.
Yeah, man, big boards on beach breaks are tough. I'm not I'm learning, so you might be the same or maybe ahead of me in terms of your big board skills. So it's a whole different set of skills, but that's cool. So yeah, maybe we'll link up sometime, Levi, in Oceanside or something, and maybe we'll get some clips of you surfing from the beach perspective, maybe. So I actually get out there once in a while and do that as well, and make everybody feel self-conscious. All these rippas, self-proclaimed rippas out there, all of a sudden they see their clip and they're like, "Whoa, wait, hold up."
That is so true, man.
Yeah, we all get humbled when we see our own clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the POV thing going on. I noticed in October 2024, just this last October, that you were kind of announcing on your YouTube your new wax.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. And so yeah, I want to get into that in a second. I also noticed though that on that beautiful green board you have, you got a serious buckle on that thing.
Oh yeah,
And so you
that was pretty
fixed that.
insane.
Yeah, I'm usually afraid of fixing the buckle. But that looks like a really cool board and probably worth trying to save.
Uh-huh.
Who did that ding repair on the buckle part?
That was Ding King, man. I go to them for everything.
Okay. Okay, because
Yeah.
it looked good. I was like, oh, okay, it
Yeah. They
looks
always do a
good.
really good job. And it's always at a really good rate too. So
Okay.
definitely wanted to save the board. It wasn't, yeah, it was definitely, it was a buckle. It wasn't like in half or anything, but it
Okay.
definitely was like, you know, kind of
Okay.
split.
Okay.
So it was totally savable.
So
Yeah.
it was like dented, kind of like a big dent across the whole thing.
Yeah, it was like a giant crack right across the middle.
A crack. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. Because when they get broken in half, I'm like, man, how do you save those?
Yeah.
And then I noticed that, yeah, after that, I think what you were saying too is, and in fact, so I can get some visuals going here. I'm going to share um, this picture here. So this is the front and kind of side rail fixes that you got. I think you also got it at the Ding King fixed up there as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like they did a pretty good job there as well. It's funny having all those scars on your board. Um, that's like a warning to other surfers.
Yeah, man.
I just fixed a similar ding. Mark McGinnis, give a shout out to Mark McGinnis for fixing up my nose really well as well. It was pretty torn apart. So how did you earn those nose dings?
You know, just being clumsy. Nothing crazy. I mean, I can't really remember off the top of my head. I think I somewhere in some places where I surf, like when the tide gets too high, the
Hmm.
water kind of slams against the rocks, and sometimes I've gotten like stuck out there a couple times.
Oh
But
yeah.
I haven't had a ding in like probably like over a year.
Okay.
You know, been
Yeah.
getting a lot more careful with it. You know, don't want to invest too much money in breaking my board. You know.
Yeah, the high tide at like bluffs, places with bluffs and rocks at the shore, it reminds me of like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like you have to run and then the water comes in and you got to hold your ground and then wait for the water to go back for a second and maybe bolt again and try not to stub your toe and smash your board while you're doing that.
Exactly.
Uh,
I,
so so what's up with that cross step? You're you doing some scooting still. I'm a scooter, by the way. I mean, every once in a while I get my foot there. I'm not sure how stylish it looks when I do it, but
yeah,
how you doing with your cross step?
I'm working on it, man. It's not amazing, but I've been able to do a couple cross steps. You know, um, kind of depends on the wave you catch. Sometimes it just kind of sinks. Sometimes I don't have enough speed, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it because that's like one of the biggest moves. Once I learn how to get it down fully, it's going to be the only move I can do. I'll want to do. You know, cross
Right.
tip to the front of the nose and then just nose ride.
Yeah.
I can scoot to the front all day, and then with the nose rider, you can steer from the front too. That's always a really fun feeling. But
Mhm.
yeah, right now my cross step is pretty raw, but I'm getting work on it.
Cool. Yeah. I think when I get to the nose, then I have to remember that, okay, I got to get back to the back again sometimes because maybe it's not perfect to keep that cheater five or a hang 10 going and you might need to turn. So yeah, it's trying to figure all that stuff out on the fly is really hard to practice, right? Like,
That is true. You got to keep you got to keep the ride nice and long too. I'm not trying to wipe out just because got to the front.
yeah. What about your cutback? I saw you've been working on that.
The cutback is my favorite move. I'll do it every chance I get.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll get kind of stuck in the wash, so I can't like get enough speed going down the line so I could do a cutback, but you know,
Hmm.
I'll go as fast as I can down the line and then just turn back and see how far I can turn, with the log.
Sure.
One day I'm trying to get that full cutback where you crash into the wash and then
Right.
straighten out again. That's
Yeah.
what I'm working on right now. But I can do a little bit of cutting back.
Yeah. I think they call that a roundhouse wrap, or I call it a figure eight, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a lot of that's a good feeling for sure. So and yeah, so I guess the other thing you noticed you said on there, which I don't think you've flexed it a whole lot, but you said something about bodybuilding or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny that you bring that up. Yeah, I'm a self-proclaimed bodybuilding enthusiast and fitness and nutrition enthusiast as well. I That's something that's always been fascinating to me for a lot of my life.
Hmm.
Um, I love like I was a school athlete, right? So
Okay, right.
in high school they introduced us to lifting weights, and I just loved lifting weights. I'm definitely not like the strongest dude in the gym by any means,
Hmm.
but the feeling I get from lifting weights is just tons of fun, man.
Uh-huh.
And I turned 20 on my 20th birthday. I was investing a lot of time into like lifting weights, right?
Hmm.
And then on my 20th birthday, I wanted to make sure I was getting the maximum amount of gains I could from all the weightlifting I've been doing. So I started diving into nutrition. So, and then I technically like became like a casual bodybuilder,
Hmm.
built a bunch of muscle, got really lean,
Hmm.
tons of fun. I've kind of cut back on it now because I'm working on the surfing, the surf wax business and also surfing a lot more.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, bodybuilding was tons of fun and something that I do very consistently every day. Not to the extent I was, but
Yeah. Keep it
something
up.
a great habit to keep.
Yeah, right on, man.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's some of the things that I learned on Levi's YouTube channel. So I encourage you guys to go check it out, give him a subscribe over there. Um, so kind of pivoting from the body, kind of going to the brain. Like you said, you just graduated. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your major and your emphasis in your major or in your.
Yes, sir. I marketing major, so business administration major with an emphasis in marketing, and I
Mhm.
learned pretty much every corner that there has to do with marketing research and analysis.
Mhm.
Every facet of marketing, I have a solid foundation of knowledge in with my niches I from college as well as personal project and um, other endeavors. I have niches in digital and social media marketing, especially
Mhm.
as someone who grew up in right in the middle of the digital age. I kind of have like a passion for, computers and all
Mhm.
that. So,
Yeah, cool.
consuming like as a kid, consuming tons of content, just like growing up.
Right.
I kind of have a really good feel for how marketing works on that front.
Yeah. So I don't know if you already mentioned, but what school did you graduate from?
Cal State San Marcos.
Okay, so right there, local. Cool. They have
Yes,
a
sir.
surf.
Staying local.
Yeah, they got a surf team over at that college too, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I thought about joining it. I couldn't find a time though. I
Yeah.
wanted to get some clubs going, but I kind of had in the middle of college, I kind of had the idea for Levi's Lax Wax, so I just
Hmm.
kind of funneled all my extra time into that instead.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a great way to spend your time. So yeah, let's jump into the wax. What I want to do is share this right here to the camera.
Hey,
One of
got the
the versions,
bar.
I actually have two versions. The other one was definitely more in the dev stage, but it was, surf wax. Um, so I'm gonna pull some out here, kind of. So he's got this going on here. As I'm feeling it here too, I can feel the tackiness of it,
Yeah,
which is uh, a good aspect to have. Um, So, do you have a background in science, or you've put time into wax, or is this something that you just completely picked up off, off your desire?
I just picked it up, man. I remember one day before school, um, I was talking to my parents about like my future and stuff as a marketer,
Mm-hmm.
and we all came up with the idea. Like with because I've been surfing a ton. I've been investing a bunch of time into just surfing and not really doing much else other than lifting weights,
Join
obviously, and doing
join the
school.
club.
Yeah, dude. So they're like, well, I'm like, I don't really know what I want to do specifically for like a career, but I have a lot of passion and a lot of interest. And they're like, why don't you make surf wax? How hard could that be? I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I'm like, I actually really like that idea. And they're like, yeah, you could sell it. You could work on e-commerce, sell at farmers markets. There's a lot you could do with that. I'm like, okay, that sounds like tons of fun, and it sounds like something I can kind of build towards, and
Yeah.
something I just really wanted to do. So I just spent a bunch of time like developing the surf wax. I've been doing that for the majority of the time. Developing the business is making sure the wax is up to performance standard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, so I want to thank them especially for helping me like every step of the way.
Cool.
Give helping me with the idea and everything. But
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. And so I noticed like you came out with, your first kind of wax, and then it looks like maybe you've kind of started to diversify your offering there in a sense of the wax. So I don't know if that's warm water, cold water, or maybe you could tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Yeah, of course. So I've got a base coat, a cold water, and a warm water. They all do different things, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it pretty much just ranges from density and stickiness. So
Mm-hmm.
the base coat is the most dense and not as sticky as, say, the cold water, because its purpose is to just make bumps on the board,
Mm-hmm.
rather than be insanely sticky for like a as a top coat. And then the
Right.
warm water is a little bit softer with about the same amount of stick. It's something you can apply a lot, and it's got
Mm-hmm.
some stick in it, so you can obviously stick to the board. And then for the cold water, it's the least dense. It's actually pretty soft
Okay.
because when the wax touches the water, the super cold water, it brittles up,
Right.
and
Okay.
it's got a bunch of more sticky stuff in it. So it can when it brittles up, it can still stay sticky instead of like
Mm.
freezing up and breaking off. You know.
Yeah.
Mm.
That sounds pretty cool. I've been using a lot of, well, I should probably thank all the hipsters out there, but I've been using a lot more base coat, um, not just on the base, but sometimes as a top layer, because sometimes that's all I have. Like lately, whatever reason, that's all I have. And I'm just kind of like crossing my fingers that somehow that's going to help improve my style, just because I see guys, anytime I'm in the parking lot and, somebody who doesn't have a leash, who has a styled out board and they don't have wax and they hit you up, they'll always kind of throw out there like, oh, do you have any base coat? Like that's what they want. I'm like, what? Okay, like base coat,
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty funky. It's definitely totally usable. Wax is wax. But like if it's a good question actually. I think I wonder if these like shortboarders are using a ton of base coat and stuff too, because all you got to do is cake the board in wax, but once it
mhm.
kind of freezes up or breaks off, like you won't really have any stick. Your feet won't really stick to anything.
Okay, yeah.
So it's totally usable though. You can just cake your board in base coat,
Hmm.
and like it's at the end of the day, it's wax, so it's gonna repel water no matter what.
Right. Okay.
Um, but
Okay.
yeah, it's a you can pretty much like whatever works best for you. You can go ahead and do it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of you dipped into well, I noticed that you had some boxes, some logos, some these satchels. So I see you kind of been, taking it, doing the R&D, right? Like making the wax, using the wax yourself, I see. And then you got to the packaging and obviously the social media marketing and things like that. And then I think you touched on it a minute ago, which was I was going to bring up distribution. So um, are you like, is that like the next step, or are you already engaging in distribution? Like, where are you at in this whole process?
It's been a long time coming, but I'm right there to being able to sell at farmers markets. So that's what I'm gunning towards right now. I'm getting my booth all set up. I ordered a bunch of stickers. I'm making my wax in bulk right now.
Okay.
And decorations, you
Hmm.
know, marketing and all that.
Yeah.
And then I'll open up and I'll try to build some capital so I can be able to make improvements and everything like that. So I can start. And then
Mhm.
after I get the farmers market rolling, I want to be able to sell on the internet, off of
Right.
my website or Etsy.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and then end goal, I would love to be able to like drop cases off at surf shops and they can,
Hmm.
resell my wax.
I've seen a lot of surf shops and sometimes even like coffee shops down by the beach who will carry, a box or two of wax because people come in and they need it. I think it's super common to need wax and the surf shop's closed. And so when you have a place like a coffee shop or something that has wax, you're like, yes, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then I got to interrupt that a little bit because Obey Ray chimed in. He said, this guy's the man right here. So right on. I'm glad I got the man on the show today.
Yes, sir.
Ray.
Love you, Ray Ray. Thanks for
Yeah.
tuning in, my dog.
You. Uh, So okay, so I see where you're at then. So you're definitely moving on this thing, and you're developing kind of your whole. It's almost like a live or a working business plan, right? That you're kind of implementing. Um, so when you said farmers market, was there a particular farmers market that you were going to start at?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend went last Saturday. We went to Cardiff to go scope it out, and
Okay.
it looks like a great place to start because there's lots of people, but it's definitely like very populated, but it's not the biggest one. It's not Lucadia, it's not Oceanside.
Hmm.
It'd be great to start there, transition into the other ones, and eventually sell it all of them. I'd love to do that and make it like an almost full-time thing. Sell a bunch of surf wax in markets, and then
Hmm.
see where I want to go from there.
Yeah, I don't know what the timing works out with, like, and when your product comes in and stuff, but you you might be able to poach, maybe not get a booth, or maybe you could, but say is at Camp Shred. If you just like, I don't know if you've been to Camp Shred before over in Encinitas, it's at the campground basically. In goes, all the way down to close to the Cardiff area you're talking about.
Interesting.
But it's actually in the campground. So they put a bunch of booths and they put bands and it's actually a really cool festival to go to. So I try to get down there. It's a little bit of a trek from here, but if there's one kind of like surf expo outdoor thing to go to, I would definitely go there. You could probably roll around with a backpack and just like incognito, dole some out, maybe even dole some out to some of the booth people. I don't, ones that might make sense. But yeah, Camp Shut, I got to give a shout out to that. Scott Desiderio, rest in peace. He used to help put that whole thing together, and yeah, it's a really cool event. So the last thing I think you also again touched on was the marketing part, and so like merch, you were talking about maybe doing some merch someday or something like that. What are your visions on some of the merch ideas?
Yeah, let me show you real quick. I got one on right now.
Okay, all right.
Yep. My girlfriend got this for me for Christmas. So I got a
Hmm.
t-shirt and a jacket because she's always
Word.
known I've wanted to make merch for a long time.
Hmm.
But like, I wasn't just gonna make a couple. So she did it for me, and then we
Hmm.
get to see how it is in person and all that. So this is
Hmm.
really cool. I like to be able
Yeah.
to make this more, and I've got a bunch of other ideas too. I've got some.
Cool.
I'm gonna when I open up at farmers markets, I'm gonna advertise them on like a little flyer. Merch coming soon. It's got my ideas on there. So big old logo in the middle, logo on the
Nice.
back. I got a couple different logos. Um, so yeah, I would love to be able to do that. That's one of my dreams is to be able to
Yeah.
sell like cool, stylish clothes about my brand.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a great thing there. So yeah, so that's like, man, a full wraparound. Thanks for sharing all this about your kind of endeavor there in business and with surfing, which is cool to bring those two things together. Um, so well, I'm going to do some announcements here and give Levi a chance to throw out some shout outs. Obviously, Ray and Chow, we got to give them a
Yes,
little
sir.
salute.
Shout out
Yeah.
my boys.
You. Uh, but yeah, so yeah, it was a great honor to have you on, Levi, today too. Just to let you know, and yeah, thanks to Rick out there for kind of connecting the dots here and kind of giving us something cool to talk about and just learning. I'm always learning and stoked to see people kind of innovating in the space of surfing. So everybody, I want to just give you a couple announcements about some other content that I've recently put out, including a podcast I did with Mason O'Toole. He's a Oceanside Board Riders member. He's been surfing WSL QS stuff this year. Um, and so you can check out that podcast. And I broke out the podcast into a couple more specific segments. If you just want to poach different little pieces of it, those are all on Epic Surf News, which you're watching right now. Um, I also want to talk about West Coast Surf and Stay. It's a video I put out, new little surf motel in San Clemente area, really close to Trestles, really close to the pier and T Street, that kind of stuff. So if you're just looking for a strike mission, you want something down and dirty, you're going to go hit it. It's a great place, just opened up. So, and they're trying to cater to surfers and surfing. So there's a good chance that your neighbors in this little kind of courtyard setup will be surfers as well. So sometimes you get out there, the waves are good, and you're like, man, I don't want to go home. I just want to stay here right now. So I think you can find them on Expedia. But anyhow, check it out. West Coast Surf and Stay. That video is there. Fantasy surfing. I'm going to share something real quick too. If you don't, Levi, are you playing fantasy surfing?
No, I'm not. That sounds pretty cool.
Okay. Well, I think you can't. I don't think you can be a real surfer unless you play fantasy surfing, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Just kidding.
This is true. Yeah, I'm lacking on that regard, man.
You know the rules. See, we're gonna make up. I make up rules every day, man.
True.
So anyhow, everybody, yeah. So if you're not playing, you can still jump in. It's one event behind right now, but the reality, kind of like surfing, you can still win the season or do really well if you miss an event. They just finished the Pipe Pro WSL. So if you go to the WSL website, worldsurfleague.com, you have to kind of dig in there. I think it's called gaming or something. You click on that, and they have a link called fantasy surfing, and then you can make a team or you can join a league if you want. And so we have a league there called Pro Surf Blog. It has a search tool. So once you get into that section of the website, you can search, and it's got Pro Surf Blog. You can search that. We'll come up. And right now, here's some of the standings of some of the people that are in it. I have mixed results, Levi. I'm in seventh after that first event, and so there's some of the players there: Surf Dog, Surf Forever, Surfer Grom, Paul Munoz, and Buck Life. So all those cats are doing top 5 right now in the league. So check it out. You got to choose your people every time before each event starts. So it's a little bit of work. It changes every time. You get to re-choose your people every time. So if a new event happens and you forget to choose, you're not going to get points. So anyhow, if you learn about that, go check that out. And my last shout out before I let Levi throw something down is to Katie Simmers, Oceanside shortboard legend already. I think she's 18 years old. She's a legend already. So she's just came in second place in the Pipe Pro that just concluded. And she did amazing though. She could easily won the event. And of course, she's 2024 champion of the world. So check her out, Katie Simmers. I'm sure if you're watching this, you know who she is. If you don't, go look her up. Also on this channel, Epic Surf News, you can search within the channel, and I've got various clips of her throughout the years as well. So, Levi, who's going to get the shouts today?
Great question, man. I got them right here, dude. First, I wanted to shout out my family first and foremost.
All right.
My dad, he he's amazing for like being able to connect me with you guys. You know, he met Rick and all those dudes, and Rick is all his friends and you, man. And
Yeah.
you guys just want to support me, and I'm endlessly grateful for that. It's such an awesome experience. I want to shout out my mom for, being the uh making up all the ideas on the forefront. She's always
Cool.
bursting with ideas. She's definitely like a natural born marketer. She's always giving me ideas and stuff. Super awesome. She loves the idea. And I want to shout out my brother for helping me with the website, building it for the most part. He's a career software engineer, so
Oh,
he uh
cool.
he has the ability to be able to do all that stuff. And last but not least, shout out to Rick for helping me with all this. He's been my number one fan for through like most of this, most of my entire journey. So
Right on, Rick. Yeah, that's super awesome. Yeah, well, that was really cool, man. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you, and I'm going to keep following your journey, and keep me in the loop. Reach out here and there when you can, and let me know, when you have new developments happening or new things you're embarking on with your wax or anything else in surfing as well. And I hope to have you back on as a returning guest at some point. It'd be really awesome.
yeah, of course, man, that would be amazing. You guys are gonna make sure to get plenty of wax for me, man. I cannot wait.
Yeah, we're excited. So everybody DM them, man. Start hitting them up. Put the pressure on them. See if we
Time to start shoveling it out, man.
Yeah, for sure. I
Go
want to
get your
borrow wax.
wax.
When I see you in the parking lot, I'm gonna be trying to borrow wax for sure, bro.
Yo, can I get some wax?
Yeah, that base coat, that good stuff,
Yeah,
right?
I just need the base coat though.
Yeah, right
Thank
on,
you so much for
Levi.
the opportunity, man.
Yeah, for sure. You have a good time, everybody. Thanks again so much, everybody. That was epic. So.